Now to a scene of widespread devastation where train cars carrying toxic petroleum products derailed and exploded today. It all happened in a lakeside town in the Canadian province of Quebec along the Maine border.
This was the moment the centre of Lac Mégantic disappeared below a fireball.
Il y a vraiment beaucoup de chaleur.
As tankers exploded, night was turned to day by the blaze. Acrid smoke engulfed the area. At least 30 buildings have been destroyed, including a cafe bar crowded with customers. Eyewitnesses told of flowing rivers of fire.
The disaster occurred shortly after 1 a.m. when the about 70-car train bound for the U.S. sped into the eastern Quebec town of Lac Mégantic near the border with the U.S. state of Maine.
Canadian firefighters are still battling the blaze. 4 pressurized tanker cars blew up Saturday after the train, which had 73 cars in total, came off the rails. So far, local authorities have evacuated around 2,000 people from their homes, but they fear more tanker cars could explode.
Only 2 fuel tanks present a risk of explosion, so we're working on them. We get water from the Mégantic Lake for our rescue teams on the ground.
The blast sent residents of Lac Mégantic scrambling through the streets under the intense heat.
He describes how he saw a fireball bearing down on the bar's patio and how he fled to the waterfront, leapt in a boat and spent the night watching the flames and explosions engulf his community. 2 square kilometers of this town has been leveled or burnt. Fire crews are stabilizing oil tankers that were burning for more than a day and a half. Until that happens, police can't go close enough to investigate and look for what are feared to be dozens of victims. Some bodies have been discovered, but the fear is that many still in the rubble have been burnt beyond easy recognition.
Canada's Prime Minister Stephen Harper went to Lac Mégantic to see for himself the damage wrought on the small community.
You know, it looks like a war zone here. A large part of the downtown has been destroyed. It is really just terrible. There's been loss of life, as we all know, and there are still many, many people missing.
The train had been parked overnight in the village of Nantes when its 73 cars carrying containers of crude oil somehow became uncoupled, and gathering speed, they rolled downhill before derailing at Lac Mégantic.
It's quite extraordinary that this train crash occurred because it was driverless at the time. The company that runs this train that carries crude oil across the Canadian countryside said an engineer claims to have put the brakes on at least 6 of the 72 cars a short way out of this town. Obviously the brakes have failed, the train has rolled into town and has come off and derailed. 4 of those train cars carrying 114,000 litres of crude oil each exploded, caught fire. That crude oil has flowed into the sewers and come up and created fires around the town. There were holidaymakers there at the weekend. It was 1 a.m. in the morning. Many buildings have been destroyed and, as I say, only 5 dead so far, between 40 and 80 people reportedly missing at this stage.